If you've ever asked yourself, what does God really want from me? You're not alone. That question has echoed through every generation of God's people. In Jesus' day, it wasn't just a personal question, it was a legal one, a theological one, and often a trap. The law of Moses contained hundreds of commandments, and debates about which ones mattered most were common among the rabbis. So when a lawyer approaches Yeshua in Matthew 22 and asks, Teacher, which is the great commandment in the law? He isn't asking out of curiosity alone. He's testing, he's probing. He's seeing whether Yeshua will reduce the law, contradict it, or elevate himself above it. But instead of sidestepping the law, Yeshua does something remarkable. He goes straight to the heart of it. He quotes the Torah, and in just a few sentences, he reveals not only the foundation of the law, but the foundation of a faithful life before God. Yeshua answers the question by quoting Deuteronomy 6:5, a passage every Jewish person knew by heart, the Shema. Open quote. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. Close quote. This is not a new command. It is not a Christian innovation. It is the ancient declaration of Israel's covenant loyalty to God. And Yeshua calls this command the Great Command. Now, this is important. Many English translations say the greatest commandment, but the Greek word megas does not demand a comparison. Yeshua is not ranking commandments as though there are many equals, and this one happens to sit at the top. He is declaring something unique, singular, foundational. This is the great command, not because it outperforms others, but because everything else flows from it. To love God with all your heart, soul, and mind means to love him with your entire being. These are not compartments, they are overlapping ways of describing the whole person. Yeshua is saying that love for God is not a feeling, not a religious moment, not something confined to Sabbath or synagogue or church. It is a total allegiance. That means we cannot live divided lives. We cannot behave one way in worship, another way at home, and another way in business or leisure. We cannot say, God governs my spiritual life, but I'll handle my finances, ethics, entertainment, and ambitions on my own. That is not devotion. That is compartmentalized obedience. And compartmentalized obedience is, in truth, partial allegiance. The Great Command demands that God's ways, God's values, and God's authority apply everywhere, at all times, without exception. Then Yeshua adds something crucial. Open quote. And a second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Close quote. This is a quote from Leviticus 19:18, again, straight from the Torah. But notice his wording. A second is like it. The Greek word is homoios. It means similar, bearing likeness, related in nature, but not equal, not identical, and not interchangeable. There cannot be two great commands. If there were, the word great would lose its meaning. Mark's gospel makes this even clearer. Open quote, there is none other commandment greater than these, close quote, plural, but not equal. Together, these two commands stand apart from all others. They form the foundation of the law and the prophets, but only one stands alone as the great command, loving God. So what makes the second command similar? Relationship. The first command governs our relationship with God. The second governs our relationship with other people. The first tells us who God is to us. The second tells us who we are to one another. But, and this is vital, the first command preempts the second. Our love for neighbor does not define our love for God. Our love for God defines how we love our neighbor. This matters deeply in our modern world, where love for humanity is often elevated above obedience to God. Scripture never allows that reversal. Loving people is essential, but it is never independent of loving God. Yeshua uses the same language elsewhere when he says, the kingdom of heaven is like. He is not saying the illustration is the kingdom. He is saying it helps us understand something about it. In the same way, loving our neighbor helps demonstrate our love for God, but it never replaces it, rivals it, or equals it. And this is why Yeshua can say, open quote, on these two commandments depend all the law and the prophets, close quote. Remove love for God, and the law becomes moralism. Remove love for neighbor, and the law becomes cruelty. But when love for God stands first, great and alone, everything else finds its proper place. So the question Yeshua leaves us with is not merely, do you believe in God? Or even, do you keep his commandments? The deeper question is this: where does your allegiance truly lie? Is your love for God whole, or is it divided? Is it integrated into every part of life, or carefully limited to certain spaces. Because the Great Command does not ask for a portion of your life, it asks for all of it. And when that love is rightly ordered, when God is loved first, fully, and without rival, then loving our neighbor becomes not a burden, but a natural overflow of a life aligned with Him. May we be a people who do not merely admire the Great Command, but live it, loving the Lord our God with all that we are, and letting that love shape every relationship that follows.